Buenos dias. Hola, soy Timoteo. Good morning, everybody. I'm Reverend Jim Kutzmark, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church here in Fresno, California. We'll be beginning the service in about 3 minutes, so you have time for a bio break. You can run and get another cup of coffee. You can like us on Facebook if you haven't done that yet. You can also share this worship service with your friends, so you're inviting them to join us here today. The most important thing, though, today is our annual flower communion, and we want you to be able to participate fully. So you have time to go and get a flower from outside. You have time to find an artificial flower. You have time to find a picture of a flower, or even draw a picture of a flower. But you want to have a flower of some kind sitting right by you as the service begins. And as you're getting that flower, we have a special prelude from our house band, Stolen Thunder, to get us in the mood for our annual flower communion.
Thank you, Stolen Thunder, for getting us off to a flower-filled start. Buenos dias. Good morning, everyone. Happy Mother's Day. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno, California. We are delighted that you are here with us in community, connection, and love. Today is our beloved annual all-age flower communion, a ritual of memory and hope. I'm Darcy Williams, and I currently serve gratefully as past president of the Board of Trustees. To everyone, we say welcome. Lesbian, gay, bi, trans, or non-binary, with or without documentation, no matter how much is in your bank account, we are welcome here. Young or old or in between, we are welcome here. No matter our differing abilities, spiritual backgrounds, religious beliefs, cultural origins, or racial identity, we are welcome here. Todos son bienvenidos aquí. If you are interested in finding out more about this church community, just send an email to connections@uufresno.org. If you want to know more about what Unitarian Universalists believe or how our religion calls us to act in love and justice in the world, just Google 7 Principles UU. Now, let's return to Reverend Tim as he prepares us for the morning chalice lighting.
Thank you so much, Darcy, for that wonderful welcome in the beginning of the service. So now today is the annual Flower Communion. It's an all ages service, although I guess these days all of our services are all ages services because the kids aren't heading off to spirit school. But we have a tradition. Whenever we do an official all ages service, we do the all church wiggle. And I just felt we should not sacrifice that. So what I'm going to need is for all of us to just stand up as we're willing and able. And we're going to do the all church wiggle. So, and it's good because it gets some of the energy that might be in the body and lets us move it and get it out, and then prepares us to settle in for a bit more stillness and worship. So we're going to begin with the left hand and just give that hand a shake. And then your right hand, a shake. Your left leg, a shake. Your right leg, a shake. And the all-important butt wiggle. And now take a deep breath in. Arms go up. And as you exhale, just let your body come back down to rest on the chair, the sofa, the floor, or the bed. And as Linda Mack prepares to light the chalice, let the sound of the tingsha carry you to that inner place of knowing.
Good morning. I'm Linda Mack, and as I light the chalice this morning for this Mother's Day and Flower Communion service, I'd like to share with you a poem by Ted Kooser. It wasn't written for Mother's Day because he wrote it in mid-April, but he did write it to his mother. It begins, mid-April already, and the wild plums bloom at the roadside, a lacy white against the exuberant, jubilant green of new grass and dusty, fading black of burned-out ditches. No leaves, not yet. Only the delicate star-petaled blossoms, sweet with their timeless perfume. You've been gone a month today and have missed 3 rains and 1 night-long watch for tornadoes. I sat in the cellar from 6 to 8 while fat spring clouds went somersaulting, tumbling east. Then it poured, a storm that walked on legs of lightning, dragging its shaggy belly over the fields. The meadowlarks are back, and the finches are turning from green to gold. Those same 2 geese have come to the pond again this year, honking in over the trees and splashing down. They never nest, but stay a week or 2, then leave. The peonies are up, the red sprouts burning in circles like birthday candles. For this is the month of my birth, as you know, the best month to be born in, thanks to you. Everything ready to burst with living. There will be no more new flannel nightshirts sewn on your old black Singer. No birthday card addressed in a shaky but businesslike hand. You asked me if I would be sad when it happened, and I am sad. But the iris I moved from your house now hold in the dusty, dry fist of their roots green knives and forks, as if waiting for dinner, as if spring were a feast. I thank you for that. Were it not for the way you taught me to look at the world, to see the life at play in everything, I would have to be lonely forever.
Thank you so much, Linda. And everybody, Linda actually became a member of the church in 1957. So Linda has been in the sanctuary listening to a lot of sermons for 63 years. Now let's join our voices in our song of praise right here.
All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. We traveled on, we traveled far to be right here where we are. Reach out a hand, no need to fear, 'cause all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. The night was dark, but the day is bright. Together we can lift our eyes to all we love and we hold dear, 'cause all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here.
Hola, soy Danny. Howdy everyone, Danny here with Time for All Ages. You know, today's flower communion has me thinking about flowers and how amazing it is that they go through this incredible metamorphosis to become their happy little selves. From seed to sprout to seedling and to these beautiful, cheerful blooms, a flower has to go through so much growth. And there's a lot that goes into that growing to make sure that it happens. Good soil, water, sunlight, even bees all play a role in a plant's life cycle and help it become what it needs to be. People are that way too. See, lots of things affect us as we grow. The people that care for us, the food that we eat, the experiences we have, the choices we make, all add up along with a million other things to shape us into who we've become in this very moment. It's pretty incredible if you think about it, and crazy too. One might even say that it's awe-inspiring, the way that we all connect and affect one another. Our field trip today is going to help us celebrate this wonderful and unpredictable cycle of growth. So let's journey to the home of the Regan family and see what they've got in store for us.
Hello, we are the Regan family, and we're here to talk to you guys about growth. I'm Sarah Regan. This is Shannon. This is Robin. We have two projects that we want to show you that we've been working on. The first one is, go ahead, show me.
It was supposed to be basil, but it turned out as lettuce or something. We think it's lettuce at least.
We're super excited because normally I'm the Grim Reaper of plants, but in this uncertain time, we got to grow something that is beautiful, and we're probably going to still eat it. We're just not sure what it is. So any horticulturists out there that are watching, if you think you know what this is, push it close so they can see again. Let me know. I'm thinking lettuce, but I have no idea. The seed packet said rosemary, but it's most definitely not rosemary.
Our other project is
Butterflies.
Yep. And obviously these are really good examples of growth. We have one butterfly left in our little butterfly aviary here.
We released both of them. We released all of them. But we don't think that one that was in the specialist was going to hop out. But it did, so we're going to release it. And want to talk about Willie. He actually died.
Sometimes things do die. That's part of growth, right? It's part of the life cycle. Yes. How did the butterflies start out?
They start out as caterpillars. They eat as much as they can. They turn into chrysalises. And they melt down into goo. And then they come out as butterflies.
That's right. And that's part of growth. All right, now go ahead and unzip it. We're going to release that butterfly.
So kind of like me, huh? I eat a lot and I roll up like a burrito in a blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't come out. Yeah. All right, go ahead, release that guy.
Let's open him up.
All right.
Get him on my hand.
No, just let him fly out, Mom. Let him fly out.
He's not gonna fly out, baby. There he goes.
Where'd he go?
He's up over there.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, say bye, UCF.
Bye, UCF.
From you I receive, to you I give. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy. So it is with the universe. So it is with our breath. From you I receive, to you I give. An ancient yogic text spoke of our breath, saying, when the breath is unsteady, all is unsteady. When the breath is still, all is still. Control the breath carefully. Inhalation gives strength and controlled body. Retention gives steadiness in mind and longevity. Exhalation purifies body and spirit. And so, in that spirit, I invite us to take a nice breath in, hold a moment, and release. Breathing in peace, holding a moment, breathing out love. Again, breathing in peace, holding a moment and finding that love within, breathing out love. As we continue to breathe together in this space that's made sacred by our breathing, by our beating hearts, by the shared intention that we have this morning to be connected, to be joined together in mindfulness, in peace, and in love. And so as we breathe as one body, let that breath carry us back over the last week, the last 7 days of our living. And as we breathe, we consider this question. What from the last week would we like to leave behind? And as we breathe together, we allow that breath to carry us back to the last week, the last 7 days of our living. What from the last week would we like to carry with us as we step into the week that awaits us? From breathing and questioning, we move deeper into sacred community. This is the time we create a container to hold the beauty, the complexity, and the brokenness of our lives. This is our time of sharing joys, concerns, sorrows, and gratitudes. If you have something personal you'd like to share with the community this morning, just write that in the comment box below. But remember, if you're speaking about someone else, don't use their last name because there are a lot of people watching here on Facebook live streaming. On Friday, Europe and the United States of America celebrated the 75th anniversary of V-Day, the day that combat stopped on the Western Front during World War II. We honor the members of our congregation who were part of the greatest generation. We remember their loyal service overseas and on the home front. Rather than protesting at state capitals and city halls, the greatest generation displayed their patriotism and commitment to freedom by sacrificing for the greater good. If you want to honor the members of our congregation who were part of the greatest generation, just press GG in the comment box. GG. We continue to celebrate and wish our Muslim siblings in faith Ramadan Mubarak, blessed Ramadan, and to our Buddhist siblings in faith, we celebrate Vesak, or Buddha Day, celebrated on the day of the full moon in May, which was this past Thursday. The festival commemorates the birth, enlightenment, and death of the Buddha in the Theravada, the Southern tradition. We have some real thanks this morning because some people have been sharing so much of their time and their caring. I first want to give a big shout out to our pastoral care team who have been going above and beyond in so many ways, and also a shout out to our newly created Caring Hearts team, a new group that will be providing emotional and spiritual support to congregants in need. I want to give a shout out as well to Team Wise, to the Wise family. They spent hours packing up Joe F's apartment, moving it, and setting her up in her new location. It was a selfless act of service by Team Wise. Thank you for serving gratefully. I want to thank Carolyn Murphy for organizing social distanced weeding on the church campus. So families have been going and helping with that as well as individuals. And to Bill Murphy, who is working to fix our drip irrigation system on campus. I also have a huge, and I mean underlined in bold, huge thank you to Jody Palmer and to Gib Bruff. They have been working with a small group of volunteers to completely spruce up the church campus. We had some real damage due to broken water lines, and they have worked very hard, given many hours, but also out of the generosity of their spirit, given us the gift of much financial support in order to do that landscaping. And they are following in the spirit of Bob Hudgens, who for many years took care of our campus. So thank you to Jody and Gib. And I want to let you see what the campus is looking like if you haven't been able to see it for a while. within our own congregation, Laura S. had successful heart surgery this week, and we also want to hold her mom, Jean, in our thoughts and in our prayers. Rich B., Paula F., Betsy T., and Saul E. continue recovering after their falls. We remember Nellie Ann R. and Robin G., Glenda R., Pat P., Sue S., Joe F., April B., Karen and Al G., Linda S., Pat M., Molly Dink, and Betty and Bill N. This morning we think of Lynn H. and Marty L. as they breathe into their first Mother's Day after the tragic loss of their teenage sons, holding them in so much love. And dear ones, this morning we have some sad but not unexpected news. On Saturday morning, we lost beloved elder Gray Hughes, a longtime member of the church. He and his wife, Jerry, have been such a vibrant and vital part of the congregation for so many years. Last week, I was blessed enough to have the opportunity to visit with Jerry and Gray, and Gray was looking back at his long and fulfilling life with such happiness and contentment. I was thinking if we could all have that ability to be at peace with who we have been and how we have lived our lives, we all would move through this world in a really powerful and beautiful way. So let's take just a moment to remember Gray and to hold Jerry and her entire family in our thoughts and in our prayers. This Sunday morning, we also pause to remember that this week marked the 50th anniversary of the Kent State Massacre, May 4th, 1970, in Kent, Ohio. 4 college students were killed and 9 wounded when, during a protest on campus against the bombing in neutral Cambodia by United States military forces, 28 National Guard soldiers fired approximately 67 rounds into the crowd over a period of 13 seconds. It led to a national strike of 4 million college students and impacted public opinion about the U.S. war in Vietnam. Lastly, we want to appreciate an overlooked category of essential employees in this age of COVID-19. The environmental services workers in hospitals, those who clean and disinfect our hospitals, keeping every surface up to a critically safe standard. As captured in a heartbreaking opinion piece in Tuesday's Fresno Bee, these women and men risk their lives so that doctors, nurses, and others can work safely. They are poorly paid, often persons of color, and they are at high risk of getting infected themselves. But they receive no additional pay, benefits, or other protection. And so, for all that has been shared in the comment box, for all that we hold in the sacredness and the silence of our own hearts, and for all those who on this day have no one to speak their name with gentleness, to remember them with kindness, we light our candle of community. By our remembering, may we and they be blessed. We light a second candle this morning to remember the almost 271,000 people worldwide, shared citizens of the world, who have lost their lives to the virus. Our call to meditation, Spirit of Life, Fuente de Amor.
Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, blow in the delicia della vita, arraigame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí.
This ancient meditation bowl rings to take us into that place of deep stillness and silence. Let us join our hearts and minds in the spirit of reflection and prayer. Let us pray. O Spirit of life, wonder, and mystery, on this Mother's Day, we celebrate all those who have brought new life into the world, all those who nurture children, helping them grow into beings independent, filled with light and love. We wish for the well-being of mothers throughout the world, and we think of stepmothers, foster mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, aunts, sisters. We remember those women who have responded to a special call of mothering, those who have adopted their child or their children. We hold in our hearts those who are single moms and acknowledge that that can often be a difficult path to walk. We celebrate lesbian couples with children. May they feel supported and affirmed in their beautiful motherhood. Our hearts expand to encompass the mothers of the world who have lost their lives or have been wounded in wars, those who live as refugees, those who are ethnically cleansed. Our arms open to embrace those women who have lost their children to war, violence, or natural disasters. We do not avert our eyes from the working mothers of this country who are often not paid a living wage for the service industry work that supports us all. Fuente de Amor, precious Spirit, this can also be a day of complication and pain for those separated from their mother by distance, by painful memory, by death. This is a loss, an empty space left by their absence. A similar absence may be felt by the mothers among us who are separated or estranged from their children. We acknowledge that life is messy, complicated, and is often left unfinished. Spirit, who is womb to us all, there is an indescribable pain felt on this day caused by the death of a mother's child. Death during pregnancy, infancy, during childhood or teenage years, in adulthood. May these women be held in love and comfort and strength on this day and every day. On this day, precious Spirit, we also celebrate all those who nurture children who are not their own. Teachers, librarians, mentors, scout leaders, spirit school teachers, even the neighbor down the block. For all these, and for all women throughout history who have lived as though children are worthy of love and respect. May we be truly grateful. Blessed be. Amen.
I remember that August 1963, 200,000 marched on our TV. The moment was magic with dreams in the air. My mom watched in wonder and said, I wish I was there. But there were babies to diaper and a whole house to clean. She watched the world change on that black and white screen. She was one in a million. She played her small part. She carried that banner high in her heart. Always carried that banner high in her heart. And she taught me the Bible, every chapter and verse, how the meek shall inherit and the last shall be first. She said, God leaves God's work to me and to you. When you're meek and you're ready, what will you do? And though she never traveled far from her front door, she watched the world change in the children she bore. She said, you are one in a million. You each have your part. You must carry that banner high in your heart. Always carry that banner high in your heart. And those children she scattered like ships on the sea, each mounting adventures she couldn't foresee. I never once doubted what she said was true. I've seen miracles mounting, small victories counting. I can't help recounting the things that we do. Now each Mother's Day Sunday I look to the chair. Now it's 15 years empty, but I still feel her there. So this year I traveled as her eldest son to Washington March because she couldn't come. And I marched to the future in a million moms see. I was marching for her, I was marching for me. I was one in a million, playing my part, and I carried that banner high in my heart. I was one in a million, playing my part, and I carried that banner in an elegant manner. I carried her banner high in my heart.
On this Mother's Day, we'd like to share some special history that's important to Unitarian Universalists all over the world. We're going to share a story that is true. It is the story of a brave woman and a man who had an idea about how to celebrate the beauty inside each of us and the beauty of the earth. It is the story of how, at a time of tension and division, people came together. It is the story of how the Unitarian Universalist Flower Communion was created. Communion is a word that means sharing. Our story is about sharing.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. Let a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
Norbert Čapek was born in 1870 in a country far, far away from here called Czechoslovakia. Norbert's family was too poor to send him to school, so they sent him to live with his uncle in Vienna, Austria. Norbert's uncle was a tailor, and Norbert worked as his assistant. In this way, Norbert was able to earn money to pay for school.
Norbert liked to learn. In school, he learned about science and psychology, and he asked many questions about spirituality. Too many questions. Oh, yes, too many questions. Questions that challenged the faith in which he was being raised. Norbert asked, why does one person get to be in charge of the whole church and speak as the voice of God? And if there is a God, why do we need someone to talk to God for us? And why can't we do it for ourselves? And why are only men allowed to be priests? Why are only the men in charge? What about the women? And why can't I find a church that celebrates our differences instead of trying to make us all the same?
Norbert's uncle did not like that his nephew asked questions. He felt that was dangerous. He said, if you want to make it in the world, then you better keep your mouth shut and your mind closed. In some ways, the time and place Norbert lived wasn't that all that different from what we know now, especially here in Fresno in the Central Valley. Some people don't like it if you ask questions. They don't like it if you question authority. They don't like it if you choose a way to be religious that is different from everyone else.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
When Norbert grew into an adult, he still hadn't figured out how to be spiritual in a way that felt authentic. He was struggling how to be true to himself, but also to be true to a religious tradition.
Hi, I'm Norbert C., and I'm wrestling with what I think and feel about religion. Then one day, while reading newspapers in the library, I noticed a woman also reading newspapers in the library. Somehow I know I need to meet her. I take a chance, and I introduce myself to her. Hi, I'm Norbert Čapek.
Hi, Norbert. It's nice to meet you. I'm Maya Veronica Oktovec.
As we talk together in the library, I realize that Maya is an educated and fascinating woman. I take a risk and share with her my spiritual struggles. She tells me,
Norbert, it isn't as complicated as you feel it is. I think you are a Unitarian.
What's a Unitarian?
Unitarians respect each person's own individual spiritual search for truth and meaning, while also believing that they are responsible for working together, helping to heal the world. Unitarians love inclusively, grow spiritually, serve gratefully, and work for justice. It is a religion that teaches you don't need to believe alike to love alike.
Well, if that's what it means to be a Unitarian, then sign me up.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Norbert and Maya fell in love and got married. Soon after, they decide to take a risk for their new religion. Norbert and Maya decide they want to become Unitarian ministers. They go to school and study hard, and after several years and a lot of work, they are ordained. Maya and Norbert were officially Unitarian ministers, Reverend Maya and Reverend Norbert. At that time, 100 years ago, there were very few female Unitarian ministers. Maya was a trailblazer and a pioneer. She was helping to break a glass ceiling.
In 1921, in the city of Prague, Czechoslovakia, Maya and Norbert start a Unitarian church together. People from many religious backgrounds come to their new church. Many of them are frustrated with the teachings of their former religion.
They come because they want to be part of a church that teaches religious values that they can believe in. They want a spirituality that feels authentic. They want to be a part of a spiritual community because they don't want to face the world alone.
It is now 3 years after the end of World War I, a terrible time that destroyed many lives. Norbert and I want to do something special to bring people together and remind them that there is beauty and hope in the world.
One day, I look outside my church office window and I see the flowers growing in my garden. And I say, Maya, those flowers remind me of beauty and hope.
I think you're onto something, Norbert. In the ugliness of oppression, flowers celebrate the eternal hope of freedom. In the face of cruelty, they speak of courage and hope. In the meadow, they speak of freedom, creating patterns wild and breathtaking that no gardener can match. In their indescribable beauty, they remind us that we live always in the face of ineffable mystery. In their reappearance each year, they remind us that in spite of every hardship, life goes on.
And so together, we create the Flower Communion.
We ask everyone to bring a flower with them to church. Everybody places their flower in a vase. Placing the flower in the vase represents that each person comes to church of their own free will. The children then carry the vase to the front of the church, and the congregation blesses the flowers together. After the service, as people leave the church, they go to the vase and each take a flower, different than the one that they had brought with them when they arrived. People asked us, what did this flower communion mean?
No two flowers are the same. Together, the many different flowers form a beautiful bouquet. This bouquet would not be the same without each individual flower.
So it is with us. Our church would not be the same without each and every one of us. No matter how different we may be, we are all beautiful in God's eyes, for we are all part of the great bouquet of creation. We are all, in the end, different and one and beautiful.
We introduced the Flower Communion 97 years ago on June 4th, 1923.
97 years ago? That's a lot of years. Do you know that I was born in 1923 and I'm also 97 years old? What a gift to be alive for so many years, through so many changes. The Flower Communion has existed as long as I've been alive. One of the many things I've learned over all those years is summed up in these words, a favorite Unitarian chant of ours. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. Let's chant this together with Lorenzo.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. De Dio recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
The people in Maya and Norbert Chapek's church liked the Flower Communion and the caring community it represented. Their church in Czechoslovakia became the largest Unitarian church in the world with over 3,000 members. But something happened that threatened Flower Communion. Adolf Hitler and the Nazis took control of Czechoslovakia. Maya and Norbert's church was considered dangerous by the Nazis, who controlled people and even got rid of people who they thought were different.
The Nazis did not want a church like the Chapeks. They did not want Unitarians. They did not want a flower communion that celebrated differences. They did not want Maya and Norbert Chapek preaching the loving Unitarian message that all people were born with inherent worth and dignity. They did not want them teaching they were all connected and responsible for each other and the earth home we all share. Maya and Norbert knew that the people were frightened. Many among the congregation were threatened or beaten or taken from their homes and put into prison. Some Unitarians had their houses or businesses robbed, shut down, or burned by the Nazi soldiers. Others worried that they too would be the next to be disappeared.
The Chapeks were regularly questioned by the Gestapo, the scary Nazi special police force. They demanded that Maya and Norbert not speak out against the Nazis. Although they didn't speak out against Nazis on Sunday mornings during their sermons, Maya and Norbert formed a resistance team that met secretly at the church and helped people escape from the Nazis. But finally, Maya and Norbert couldn't remain silent. In the spring of 1941, Maya and Norbert declared,
"We can bear it no longer.
We must speak the truth and not be cowards. I will challenge the Nazis by using my Sunday morning sermon to contradict the hateful speech Adolf Hitler gave this week. It was full of cruelty and lies."
"5 days later, the Gestapo come to our house. The Nazis arrest Norbert. Because of his sermon, the Nazis say it is too dangerous for Norbert Chapek to be allowed to live. He is sent to a terrible place called Dachau, a concentration camp. On his papers are stamped the fatal instructions. Chapek's return is unwanted.
While in Dachau, Norbert introduced the prisoners to the Unitarian Flower Communion. Each prisoner brought what flowers they could find in the concentration camp to a special service. At the end of the service, the prisoners left with a flower different than the one they brought, one brought by one of their fellow prisoners to symbolize their sense of community. The prisoners were strengthened by Norbert's words and inspired by the inclusive Unitarian Flower Communion that was open to anyone, no matter their religion. They liked that the simple ritual reminded them that there was still beauty and goodness in the world. The prisoners in Dachau felt part of a community despite the isolating and horrific circumstances of the camp.
After the war, survivors testified that the Unitarian minister could not have been sent to a place where he was more needed. Norbert brought hope and resilience to to the Jewish, Christian, Unitarian, Gypsy, lesbian, gay, and transgender prisoners in Dachau. But because he was now over 70 years old, Norbert was transported with other older prisoners to the part of the camp where cruel medical experiments were being conducted. This was the last thing Norbert wrote to his beloved wife Maya before he died.
The goal of religion is to create strong, confident, active, creative, loving persons who are happy with themselves and with nature, humanity, and the spirit of life.
When news of his death reached the United States, the American Unitarian Association president, Frederick May Elliott, wrote, "Another name is added to the list of heroic Unitarian martyrs, by whose death our freedom has been bought. Ours is now the responsibility to see to it that we stand fast in liberty."
I flee for my life. I come to the United States as an immigrant and a refugee. I ask this country to offer me sanctuary. As should always be the case in the United States of America, I am welcomed with open and understanding arms. Because I am allowed to enter this country, I am able to offer the unique gift that I was also bringing with me from our congregation in Prague. I bring the flower communion to America. I first introduced it to the Unitarian Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts, but soon I began to share the flower communion ritual all across the country. I share it because I believe. The hardest times and the most dire moments are not strong enough to rob us of our capacity to share love. Not even death can take from us the love that is exchanged between people. It is with us as long as we have love to offer. It is with us whenever we are open to receiving love from others. By offering what we can, by making room to receive the offerings of others, we carry with us the hope for the future.
Maya and Norbert and their Unitarian Church wanted people to have hope for the future. They wanted us to remember that we need not believe alike to love alike, and that we must bring more love into the world. If not us, then who? May it be so.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. De Dio recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
Thank you, Linda, Sam, Karen, and Troy, also known as the Flower Communion Players. Now that we've heard the story, let us share the timeless message of Maya and Norbert's Flower Communion. But before we do that, this would be the time to pick up the flower that you may have brought near you at the beginning of the service. You could have an artificial flower, or even a picture of a flower you drew. Now, in normal times, at this moment in the service, we would invite everyone to come up to the chancel, and there would be all our kids holding big baskets overflowing with Fresno's springtime flowers. We would be invited to reach in and take a flower out of that basket, one that spoke to us, that called to us, one that was different than the one we had carried into church that morning.
But this morning, we can still share our flowers with each other. We will share our flowers through the pictures that some of us took over the last few days and then submitted on Facebook or through text or email. If you didn't take a picture, that's okay. You can still enjoy our visual sharing and even take a selfie now and post it in the comment box. Those of us who are visually impaired, we invite you to imagine pictures of your own family and friends holding flowers.
It takes many kinds of flowers to make a bouquet. It takes many kinds of people to make a church community.
It takes all of us to make our church community strong. Despite our differences, there is so much that we share. We share a promise to welcome one another and to work hard to truly appreciate each other. We also promise to work together to try and make the world a better place, not just for ourselves, but for everyone. That's what working for justice truly means. And that's the true beauty of this place and of being together. We're going to do what the Reverends Maya and Norbert Chopik did with their congregation 97 years ago in Prague. We're going to bless these flowers with our love. We will use words adapted from the blessing that the Chopics used so many years ago. Karen's going to help us learn a response for all ages.
Bless these flowers with our love. Que nuestro amor bendiga estas flores.
Let us pray. Infinite Spirit of life, Fuente de amor, God of our own heart's understanding, we ask your blessing on those gathered today, holding a blossom of beauty and hope. Let each of us be messengers of community and love. Together, let us say,
bless these flowers with our love. Que nuestro amor bendiga estas flores.
May these blossoms remind us that each of us brings our unique story. Each of us possesses diverse knowledge and gifts. And together, this bouquet of color and beauty is truly a blessing. Together, let us say,
bless these flowers with our love. Que nuestro amor bendiga estas flores.
May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or weaken our relationship. But may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do love's work in the world. Together, one last time, let us say,
bless these flowers with our love. Que nuestro amor bendiga estas flores.
May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. Let's join our voices and let's sing De Colores.
Campos en la primavera, de colores son los pajaritos que vienen de afuera, de colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir, y por eso los grandes amores, tus muchos colores me gustan a mí, y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. All the colors the fields love to wear when the spring starts to breeze in. All the colors the birds dress themselves in for us in this season. All the colors we see in the sky when the rainbow appears. All the colors abound for the whole world around and for all whom we've known through the years. All the colors abound for the whole world around and for all whom we've known through the years. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajaritos que vienen de afuera. De colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir, y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí, y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí.
Good morning again. I'm Darcy Williams, the past president of the Board of Trustees. Welcome into my home once again. Reverend Tim often says that church is not a spectator sport. Church requires action, our action. One action I take is to give. I give of my time by serving on the Board of Trustees, the Visioning Implementation Team, and the leadership development team. I also give financially. Why do I give? I give because I can. I am fortunate to have a career that I love that gives me purpose. I give financially because I want my church, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno, to continue. It offers me peace, hope, a spiritual foundation, and a family. Our income stream has been drastically reduced, so I'm asking you right now to make a special offering of any amount. We know how many of you are watching our services, and we know how few are the special donations being made. Today, can you take action? If you are willing and able, there are several ways you can make your offering, including Cash App, PayPal, credit card, a text, or the old-fashioned way with a check in the mail. A slide will appear with all the information in just a minute. But first, in the spirit of grateful generosity, will you join me in saying our words of offering? If not us, then who? If not open hearts, then what? If not now, then when? If not generously, then how? If not us, then who? Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Darcy. Thank you. And I'd like to re-echo Darcy's appreciation for everybody who's been making a special contribution. Last month, we ran an $11,000 deficit, so our income stream is not what it should be and what it must be. So thank you so much. I have a few reminders for us. First, for those who don't know yet, I want to give you the results of this week's Reverend Tim's Sunday Socks competition. It was a fierce battle. It's always a fierce battle, but this was between the blue leopard socks, the red hot socks, and the modernism socks. And drum roll, the winners were the modernism socks. See that? As I almost knocked the chalice over. This makes me feel like I'm in Palm Springs. I love it. So a couple things to remember. Immediately after the service, we will have social hour on Zoom. It's a chance for you to see your friends, meet new friends, see faces, have conversations. Join us in the Zoom room. 5 minutes after the end of the service, Danny will be back on Facebook Live streaming for her worldwide famous family time. Let's see. After the service too, I'm going to be leading a mini introduction to Unitarian Universalism, looking at the 6 sources of Unitarian Universalism. So if you are new or newish to this faith tradition, join me there. The address for the Zoom will pop up at the end of the service. And I want to let you know too, we changed all of our Zoom platform to a whole nother Zoom platform, so all the old addresses no longer work. So if you want to get the most up-to-date addresses, go to our website, www.uufresno.org, and click on updates, and then you'll see the May calendar there, and press any of the topics that you're interested, any of the workshops you're interested, and you'll be taken right off to the Zoom room of your choice. So I think that is it. So I am going to gently toss you back to Danny.
Thank you so much for spending your Sunday morning with us and joining together with us in worship. It's a pleasure to be part of your lives every week. Please join me in our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts.
Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón.
Before we bring our worship service to an end, I want to take a moment to thank two people who are working behind the scenes to make this happen. What you're seeing on the screen looks pretty smooth, and that's because of the dedicated care of first Linda Tolliday, who works with all the images, selecting images and slides and lyrics, and then a tech guru, amazing. Jeremiah Henry has put hours and hours and hours dealing with sound and video, and he is making us look pretty darn good. So I just think it's amazing, and I'd love you to put a J in the comment box as a shout out, sending lots of love to Jeremiah. Muchas gracias. So let's take our precious hands and place them on our beating hearts. Go now in peace. May you leave this place knowing you are good and knowing you are loved. Take your love, share it with the world. Stay safe until we meet again. And may the longtime sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and that pure light within you guide your way on. Blessed be. Amen.
Go from here in peace, go with love. Go from here in peace, go with love. Go from here in peace, go with love. In love. Shalom and assalamu alaikum.